This story is said to have came about from a newspaper article that Victor Hugo had read about Claude Gueux, a man condemned to die. This led to a short work of early true crime that details how a relatively non-violent crime could lead one into a realm where violence becomes the answer to their need of something. A cold winter had resulted in a man named Claude Gueux turning to crime in order to offer his family food and warmth. Because of that, his wife and child were able to eat for the next few days. But that petty theft had resulted in a 5-year sentence. He was now living at the Clairvaux prison. This facility was actually once a monastery and was converted into a prison by Napoleon Bonaparte in 1804. The prison is located about 120 miles southeast of Paris. It is here where Claude now works in the prison workshop. These inmates would have been making some type of clothing, paper goods, and other textiles. Others would have done metalwork, woodwork, and other heavy manufacturing. Sometime later, Claude learns that his wife had become an unfortunate sister. No information was gathered about the child, but it was assumed to have passed away. Time goes by since his sentencing, and he is known for his demeanor. The only issue for him was the jailers, who did not enjoy Claude's influence over others. Because of the jailers disliking him, they reduced his rations, but fortunately for him, a young cellmate had given him some food. This inmate is named Albin, and their relationship came to be like a father-son bond. The workshop inspector, a jailer, must have noted this bond between them and cruelly had Albin transferred out of there. Since then, a change was seen in Claude after he had tried to plead with the inspector to bring Albin back. Claude begins to get desperate and starts to calmly threaten the inspector to bring Albin back, or else. The inspector could not punish him too much, as Claude was influential to the other inmates. More weeks go by without the inspector taking Claude seriously, and he comes to terms that he has to kill this man for taking his surrogate son away. Claude told quite a few inmates about what he was going to do, and they even offered to help him out. That night of November 4th, just about every inmate in that workshop now knew of Claude's plan, and they seemed to understand the reasoning behind it. In the meantime, Claude had said his goodbyes and gave away his stuff, as he expected that it was also his last day. For one last time, Claude confronts the inspector to try to get him to bring back Albin, but he refused. Just then, a hatchet came down onto the inspector's skull, and immediately after, Claude used scissors to stab himself in the chest until he fell unconscious. Claude would wake up some time later in the medical ward and was questioned about his actions. He is being charged for this murder and sent off to trial once healthy enough. At trial, all of the inmates that were there that day were brought in as witnesses, but each provided no evidence. Then came Claude to the stand. He ended up telling the complete truth of the situation and how the inspector had treated him for the past 4 years. In the end, the jury had condemned the man to death by guillotine. Claude's last day had finally came 7 months and 4 days after the incident. He had initially went to prison for a petty crime, and from psychological attacks, he became a murderer that was condemned to death.